And see all the rhetoric that you come out with over the years. I've heard the Loyalist paramilitaries standing up and saying it was people like you and others who drove them out onto the streets. So you were prepared to sit in your big houses and let them go out and do the dirty work for you.
Victim makers. Victim makers. Well,
but some members of the UPV took more drastic action to undermine O'Neill. Aided by some off-duty B specials, they ambushed civil rights marchers just outside Derry. A government inquiry laid the blame firmly at the door of Ian Paisley and his Ulster Protestant volunteers. But some of Paisley's followers went even further and became involved in terrorist activity. A series of explosions sabotaged Belfast's water supply. They were thought to be the work of the IRA, but they were not. Who was behind those explosions?
It was a conglomerate. There were UVF men involved and there were members of the UPV involved.
What was the point of hitting those targets?
To erode confidence in O'Neill and bring O'Neill's government down.
The strategy worked. O'Neill resigned. One of Paisley's followers was sentenced to 12 years for causing the explosions. He was a member of the UPV. A few months later, there was an explosion at a power station across the border. One of the bombers, Thomas MacDowell, was killed in the process, electrocuted by 5,000 volts. MacDowell was a member of Paisley's church and Paisley's UPV. Here are people closely connected with you and your organisation who are involved in terrorist activity.
Yes, it is. Well, closely involved with me. I don't know whether you can say that or not, but they were in organisations that I was leading.
And see all the rhetoric that you come out with over the years. I've heard the Loyalist paramilitaries standing up and saying it was people like you and others who drove them out onto the streets. So you were prepared to sit in your big houses and let them go out and do the dirty work for you.
Victim makers. Victim makers. Well,
by the beginning of 1972, Loyalists felt increasingly alone, convinced they were the victims of IRA genocide. Desperately, they looked for leadership. Around 60,000 Protestants thought they had found it, as they united under the standard of Ulster Vanguard. To the vast crowd, the days of Carson were back. Cometh the hour, cometh the man, and Vanguard's Carson was Bill Craig. Why did you join Vanguard?
Vanguard in those days was Bill Craig. Bill Craig, I must say, personally was enormously influential on me. He seemed to me to be the only major figure in unionism that had any coherent thought or analysis of the situation.
Craig didn't mince his words.
There can be no compromise or concession to the enemy that assails our province today. We must build up the dossiers on the men and women who are a menace to this country. Because one day, ladies and gentlemen, if the politicians fail, it may be our job to liquidate the enemy.
In your speech at that rally, you talked of liquidating the enemy. Why did you say that? Why did you use those words?
Because I did mean to liquidate the enemy.
Literally?
Well, not in terms of personalities, but in terms of organisation, yes.
Did you realise what you were saying when you spoke of liquidating the enemy?
Yes.
Did you think of how those words might be interpreted?
No, I didn't expect them to be interpreted any other way than the normal meaning.
See all the rhetoric that you come out with over the years. I've heard the Loyalist paramilitaries standing up and saying it was people like you and others who drove them out onto the streets. So you were prepared to sit in your big houses and let them go out and do the dirty work for you.
Victim makers. Victim makers.
Bill Craig wasn't the only politician whipping up emotions as the IRA continued its slaughter. Around this time, Ian Paisley was up there too, thundering the Loyalist battle cries that had echoed down the years.
Let it go out that we're cool, determined Loyalists who will never surrender, and who are...
Many young Loyalists believed their politicians were giving them the green light to hit back against the IRA.
Well, we all have to take our responsibility for this, and not least the politicians. They were only too happy to lead us by the nose at one stage. Get into them, boys. Protestant, Ulster, we will fight and we will die. Well, they never fought, they never died. It was left to people like me.
Bobby Morton joined the UVF and was later sentenced to 15 years for attempted murder.
Many of those who became involved in the Loyalist paramilitary organisations in the early 1970s say that they did so because of what you said, the language that you used, the emotions that you stirred.
I don't.
Do you accept responsibility for it?
No, I do not indeed. And these are the same people that have the worst word in their belly for me today. No, I don't accept that at all. That is a slander.
See all the rhetoric that you come out with over the years. I've heard the Loyalist paramilitaries standing up and saying it was people like you and others who drove them out onto the streets. So you were prepared to sit in your big houses and let them go out and do the dirty work for you.
Victim makers. Victim makers.